So let's try and make this interactive now. How many of you have Aadhaar cards? Raise your hands. Just about everyone? Is there anyone missing who doesn't have an Aadhaar card or an ID? So here is someone who is proposing an AI for each and every citizen of India. Please welcome Professor Ramesh Raskar. He's an associate professor at the MIT Media Lab and leader of the Camera Culture Group. He's an Indian origin innovator from Nasik in Maharashtra. He pioneers computational imaging, AI for health, and now decentralized AI. And Professor Raskar is wearing a fascinating t-shirt as well. It's called Doot. Let's see it. Okay, so let's talk about Doot, Professor Raskar.
Maria, wonderful to be here. As I said, every citizen has an Aadhaar card. What if every citizen has a AI agent for themselves? Sounds very futuristic. Yes. But many of us who can afford, we usually have somebody to assist us. But imagine, a 70-year-old Sita Bai in rural Bihar, and she wants to get the same kind of services that you and I can afford. And if Sita Bai can just pick up her phone and say, मुझे तो कुंभ मेला जाना है नासिक में, मैं क्या करूं? If you have to go to Kumbh Mela, you'll just ask somebody to take care of everything. But imagine for Sita Bai, an AI agent that's running on her phone can do everything for her. Her travel, her food, she's pre-diabetic, so she wants certain kind of a homestay and access to particular type of vegetarian food and so on. All those things are taken care of by this AI agent, as long as the folks at Kumbh Mela and all the vendors there also have their own AI agent so they can talk to each other.
Okay, so Sita Bai's agent is talking to the agent of one of those who are there, perhaps among the organizers in Kumbh Mela.
That's right.
And how do they connect?
So, you're familiar with Flipkart or platforms like that. And ONDC, is trying to make it more democratic. They're saying, if you're a vendor, if you're a consumer, come on this decentralized platform. Anybody can list and anybody can buy products from there. So systems like ONDC, which is part of the DPI, Digital Public Infrastructure, is already doing that. So we just need ONDC to run at Kumbh Mela, so all the vendors can register their AI agents on this platform, and any one of us, our consumer or pilgrim agents, can talk to them. And so the vendors are saying, I was at Prayagraj last year around this time, studying, how the Kumbh Mela works, and I had it's beautiful infrastructure, but experience and access is challenging. So, I had a headache, and I was just trying to look for some tablets, but I couldn't find among all the vendors who it would be. I had to walk, various places. So there's no discoverability of resources. So imagine if the vendors are, very excited to register themselves, and their AI agents don't have to pick up the phone every time saying, hey, Ramesh is calling, he's looking for, headache medicine. But my agent say, मुझे थोड़ा दर्द है, मैं क्या करूं? And it's kind of, polling hundreds of vendors, hundreds of pharmacies that might be selling that. So both parties don't have to continuously be on the phone or on WhatsApp. These agents are doing everything for them.
You have said, and I'm going to quote you from one of your recent views, that future will not be controlled by a single system, but will be created by millions of empowered agents working together. This is essentially what India believes in terms of decentralized AI. Will Doot figure in here?
Absolutely. I mean, if you remember before UPI, first of all, financial access was challenging. But if you did, you had to use a credit card by a company like Visa. And, it was highly centralized. All the shopkeepers had to be in the Visa network, and all of us had to carry a Visa credit card to do that transaction. But UPI made it, very decentralized, because you can use any bank to any vendor, to any consumer, can connect through this decentralized platform. And think of the AI agents that are emerging through platforms like Doot and others. It's a similar thing. It builds on top of Aadhaar and UPI and DigiLocker and ONDC. It's just a layer above that. So it's not really that magical, if you think about it, but there are very few countries that can make it happen, and those countries need a very strong identity and payment rails. As far as I know, there's only one country right now.
And that's us.
That's here.
That's here. Okay, another quote of yours before you have a presentation for us. We'll be playing that in just a bit. But you say that the current AI era is factory phase and you want it to have bazaar phase. This is again decentralization or something which is being seen as democratization of AI. What will be bazaar phase here? And is factory phase largely dominated by those mega tech giants who are talking about trillions of dollars now?
Maria, absolutely right. I mean, right now we are kind of the factory phase of AI. In fact, some folks call it AI factories. And you need them in the beginning, billions of dollars of investment, centralize all the data, centralize all the compute, you have to build nuclear power plants to power them and so on. This is like building a factory. And you need that in the beginning. But as you know, in every society, in the beginning you build factory and everybody else is just using what's built in that factory. That's what's happening in AI right now. Some big companies build AI and we just use it. But very quickly, we're going to switch from the factory era of AI to the bazaar era of AI, where every one of us can create our own AI models, train our own AI models. There'll be a Maria agent, there'll be a Ramesh agent, and we'll be talking to each other. Our agent will talk to each other. So when you go to the bazaar era, the economics changes right away because now our agents are participating in the economy and it's based on what we do. So, usually we wake up in the morning, we take care of our messages, take care of our email, and we feel like we have got some work done in our digital life. But, a year from now, you'll actually wake up, look at your agent, and say, how can I make my agent better? It's almost like me talking to my teenage daughter. And I'll say, I'm going to train this agent. Till yesterday, my agent was responding in this way, but now I learned something interesting from Rajdeep and from Maria. I'm going to edit a little bit more, add some more thoughts. Also say that I'm going to be very busy in March and April, but maybe next year I want to go to Kumbh Mela. I can kind of modify my agent and my preferences and my knowledge and my expertise, and then launch it again, right? And that takes care of majority of my life. But there's also economy around it. I might say, hey, I'm a professor at MIT, and as you can imagine, the most common question I get, hey, my son is in high school, how can he get into MIT, right? So I could just answer all those questions. My agents can just answer those questions. But also, joking aside, also some serious questions about my research or my companies and so on. So I might start charging, 100 rupees per query over time. But at some point, your agent might be better than my agent, and your agent is charging 200 rupees per query. I was like, why is Maria's agent so much better? So I'm going to send my own AI agent to the IIT of agent schools. And IITs will run schools for agents. My agents will become smarter over time, and will start competing with your agent now for business and so on. At some point, my agent will get rusty. I might have to send my agent to a repair shop. So there'll be agent repair shops. But at some time, my agent will also start doing mistakes. So I might have to buy an insurance for my agent, and so on. So you could imagine there's a whole agent economics, a whole agent ecology that's going to emerge, and we can't even imagine all the new businesses, all the new socioeconomic structures that we'll have in the next few years.
Okay, since you are saying that the impact of AI will be beyond technology, it will be in the domain of welfareism, happiness, and opportunities, then what does human interface mean then?
Yeah, I think this is the challenge, right? Who's here really excited about AI? And who's really worried about what AI can do for jobs and misinformation and fakes and so on, right? So as you can see, there's a lot of fear and excitement about AI, and that's because we're in the factory mode of AI. We have no agency, we have no control over how AI is going to get delivered to us. But when we switch it, and every one of us has our own AI, our own micro AI, our own AI agent, we can participate, as first-class citizens into this. And that's going to bring a lot of safety, lots of checks and balances. It's more democratic. Just like in democracy, even if an individual seems powerless in the beginning, because of a democratic process, even the most powerful have to listen to every individual. It's the same thing when you democratize AI. When every one of us has the ability to participate in the AI ecosystem, suddenly there is a bit of equalization there. And that's how the socioeconomic aspects are going to change. And People might be worried about their jobs and so on. That's because we're in the factory era. But in the bazaar era, there'll be so many new opportunities. All of us will be busy creating new businesses, as I said.
And how soon is the bazaar area?
That's a good question.
You know.
I mean, if somebody reminds you that ChatGPT is just about 3 years old, how much has changed? We take it for granted now. How many people are doing their homeworks with ChatGPT? You don't have to raise your hands. How much has it changed? So you can only imagine how quickly. Is it going to take 10 years, 5 years, maybe 1 year? And that's why the next year's Kumbh Mela, which is happening in Nasik, is our first flagship example of having millions of people having their own AI agent as a pilgrim.
Okay, so what you have for us? Let's take a look at the presentation now.
So
Yes,
all right.
here.
So first of all, Doot, which as you know means a messenger or an envoy, not your master, is a personal AI agent for every citizen, right? Just like there's Aadhaar and UPI and so on. And Doot is not trying to control you. It's your messenger. It's not taking decisions on your behalf. And the way we are doing this is a technology called NANDA. Okay?
Right.
And NANDA stands for Networked AI Agents in Decentralized Architecture, which is a mouthful, but NANDA means joy, and also name of my sister, who lives in Nasik, right? So the NANDA technology is what's really playing a role. And as I said, if you think about what's the internet of AI agents,
Yeah.
we are kind of in the mainframe era of AI, where things get built in big factories. We switch to PCs, then the intranet, then the internet of AI agents. But the internet was about connecting machines. The World Wide Web was about connecting people. And Nanda is about connecting agents that are representing people, right? So that's the key here.
So NVIDIA speaks about factory phase. You are speaking about the bazaar phase.
That's right.
And the bazaar phase comes how many years after the factory phase?
I mean, it's already happening.
It's already
What you may not realize is that the reason why we have to be in the factory phase is this models have 1 trillion parameters. They cost billions of dollars to build and so on. But now the models are becoming so small, they'll run on your phone. It'll take less power and less compute than watching a YouTube video. So imagine, Maria, if all your information, all your degree, all your health, all your travel, which is maybe a couple of megabytes of information, is running on your phone and doing the work for you all day, all night, like having your own assistant. So that's where the bazaar phase is already happening. But then what's needed is the network aspect of it. How do you build a network?
Yes.
Because it wasn't enough that everybody has cash. What we needed was something like UPI, so it's network, so anybody can talk to anybody and buy insurance or buy a new phone or get credit instantaneously. So the network is more important than the AI.
So do I have to instruct my agent to speak to, say, the agent who is sitting somewhere, and then they communicate? Or does that happen because it picks up from my mention during one of the conversations that I may have with intent that I want to do that?
That's a good question. Maybe in the beginning, it's like raising your child. In the beginning, we handhold, we are very prescriptive, and as they start, raising, it's like, now you're independent. By the time they're 18, they go to college, we're like, beta, now you're on your own, right? And the same thing with agents. In the beginning, we'll be very controlling, very prescriptive, but at some point, the agent will be so good, Maria, you'll like, you know what? Just go ahead and do it. I'll be fine with it.
Okay, so let's move on to the next slide.
So we don't have to go through all the slides.
Yes.
But I think I just want to get this idea across that in the beginning, we have to build a very solid foundation. Right. Just as you move to a new city, move to a new country, you need a passport, you need an address, you need your Aadhaar card. Every agent also needs to have their own Aadhaar card, right? Every agent needs to have their own bank wallet and so on. But very soon, agents will start helping in our jobs. They'll start making money on our behalf. But agents will also create their own stock markets. They'll also create their own banks. Unfortunately, they'll also create their own casinos. So there'll be some good stuff, there'll be bad stuff as well. But soon after that, when we move to a new city, it's not just about settling down and finding a job. We start creating clubs We start hosting events like this. We create universities. We create justice system. We create sports teams. And agents are going to do the same thing. They're going to create their own justice system because what if my agent didn't do the right thing that Maria agent asked you to do? So you're going to sue my agent. So we need our own justice system for it as well.
So and the justice system again will be agent-like.
The agents are just interacting with the agents. There'll be agent judge and agent clerk, judge. And they're all interacting with each other. Every once in a while, we might have to go and intervene to see if everything is going fine. But most of the time, they're just talking to each other. It's like high-frequency trading today on stock market. You know, somebody's writing algorithms and stocks are being traded. You know, the fund managers barely take a look at it just to make sure things are right. But the trades are happening very, very fast. Maybe that's the closest analogy to how agents will be doing this fast trading with each other, not just for commercial purposes, but for entertainment, for social, for justice, and everything else.
So if there is a jury also for agents, then are we then heading to a situation then perhaps in future summits of this nature will have agents of ours, we may not be there in the room at all?
No, the whole point is the more the technology there is, the more time we'll have to spend with each other in the real world. You know, just because the computer can beat chess didn't mean we stopped playing chess.
Yes.
Just because there's a bicycle or a car that runs faster than us doesn't mean we stopped running or exercising or running Olympics for running, right? So I think the more technology there is, the more human it becomes our day-to-day activities. So I think we'll be spending more time. Like, just think about running this conference, how much your team spent time doing all the stuff that happens behind the scenes. I know how amazing your team is trying to coordinate for me to be here, but imagine if all of that is happening, you know, semi-automatically, and then we can come here and just focus on, you know, what we really enjoy, which is exchanging ideas and thinking about the future.
Okay, so your final thought, and this is my question. What's your most optimistic view of AI reshaping India's economy and society, say by 2027 and beyond?
So let's start with the potential dystopian world. The potential dystopian world is that we remain in the AI factory era, and you know, they build the most amazing math teacher for the world, you know, the most amazing mental health worker for the world, and there'll be exactly math teacher for the whole world, you know, exactly one accountant for the whole world, and everybody else, all of us, will just be intelligent slaves given by this master AI. That'll be a pretty soulless life. We won't lose jobs, but jobs of most of the people will be just using these AI models given to them. That's the dystopian world we are walking into right now. But once we move to the bazaar phase, what's going to happen is the math teacher is training their own AI agents. The students are training their own AI agents. They're talking to each other about many interesting things. You know, if you're an artist, if you're a creator, you know, if you're a leader, you know, so it becomes a creator economy. You know, we're all going to become artists. We are all very proud of an agent we are creating because our agents are representing us in this parallel economy. So I think the glorious decade ahead is that it's a beautiful world where all of us are training our agents. We spend a lot of physical time, things that we enjoy doing, and many of the pesky situations that are out in the world, like health and education and travel, livelihood and insurance and climate, all these issues are being solved in a democratized agentic world. That's my hope.
All right, on that positive note, or should I say Doot for all, so maybe in some years from now, all of you and all of us will also have an AI agent for every citizen. That's a great idea, certainly. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you, Professor Raskar, for this conversation.
Thank you.